Okay, Margaret, did you want to
I want
jump
to
in on
follow
this?
up on that idea that women are the repository of special knowledge. In addition to the American dream message that's leading us astray, there's a powerful message out there that says that happiness comes from individual success. And while there is definitely a time for climbing the ladder, and I had a very satisfying career, I've learned that satisfaction and joy are not the same thing, and that what makes for joy is something that women, I think, uniquely know, and it comes from leading a more mindful and grateful life that's more oriented toward the common good than the individual's self-satisfaction. It's really larger than the individual. I think women know this, and I think that it's up to us to challenge sort of the masculine model of success, which is centered around personal status and competition and gain, with this alternative view of mindfulness and gratitude and common good.
Thank you. I really appreciate your bringing up the question of success and the way it's defined. One of the things that I read recently was something which was called a paradox. That is, as options for women increase, there are actually people who've studied happiness with questionnaires, and on these questionnaires, what's turned up is a declining endorsement of feeling fully happy and self-satisfied, much lower now than men, where it used to be the opposite. And people are questioning, and there's all kinds of research aspects to that that you could question as well. But nevertheless, I think I'd like to just put that out for the panel. What do you think about the increasing options? Has it made things so stressful that we're feeling overwhelmed? How do you all deal with it? Or how would you like to see today's women deal with it?
Well, Gail Collins, in her book, actually, I'm going to put a plug out there for my aunt, quotes my aunt, Kathy Hinderhofer, and she says, one thing that feminism didn't predict was that with all of these choices that we have, it means that many of us end up feeling adequate in all the various realms of their life. At home, we're not, an adequate parent. At work, we're not an adequate employee because we're worrying about what's going on at home, and and trying to balance all of that for yourself. Not to mention, as you said, knowing yourself and establishing personal time. What is that? So I think one of the drawbacks of having so many choices, and I am certainly not suggesting that we don't have these choices, but one of the drawbacks of it is that we feel like we're missing out on something when we choose a path. And that's something that's everywhere. They talk about kids not being able to listen to one radio station because there might be a better song just on, 2 stations down or something like that. And I think that is a real concern and about how we live our lives, and how can you be reflective practitioners in your professional life, and how can you be the kind of parent or family member that you want to be when you're constantly worried about all of the various roads not traveled on any given day, never mind over the course of a lifetime.
I think that this wouldn't be a women's panel without just mentioning the term second shift, because we all know that one of the things that's happened with the increased options outside the home is that women still tend to carry the majority of the housework and the child care within the home, so that there again, there's a double load and there's a potential for increased stress. As my husband likes to call it, equal opportunity heart attacks. I don't have that data, but I do worry about it in terms of what women are bearing today. Anybody else want to weigh in on that? Yes.
I'll jump in with success and happiness. I think I've figured out, again, I think all the things that I was thinking about after college, the idea of political correctness and feeling very driven to succeed. I think there's also incredible a movement of, personal knowledge and growth and 12-step and spirituality. That seemed really prevalent, yoga and all this. And so I think I realized that I couldn't be successful if I wasn't happy. And I think that was kind of a thing I figured out after Wellesley. I think I felt very driven coming in and leaving Wellesley in a kind of directionless or meaningless sense. And I think I figured out that I couldn't be successful if I wasn't happy, and that there had to be kind of this balance. And I don't have kids. I have the luxury of just, sinking myself into my career as much as I want. But I also work. I have to support myself financially. I don't have any, there's no luxury there in terms of, my time. So I feel like, I think that, being an artist, I'm very self-expressive. I find a lot of meaning in my work that's very personal. So I kind of feel like I have a lot of that balance. I have, maybe I don't feel like I'm a pioneer being a woman sculptor. Even though I work with a chainsaw, I can say all these things that make me sound really, far out there or whatever. I'm not a pioneer. I've worked in the trades, architectural millwork, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we've had women here before. Like, I've never been a pioneer in anything, and I'm 42, so I think that says something about our world, that women have achieved all these things as first, way before me. I'm just, there still may not be a majority of women, although I'm in a Boston Sculptors, there's more women in the group right now than men, and that's a sculptural group. So, I don't know if you can measure things by demographics and numbers, even though, like, that is a measurement of success and stuff like that, but, so I feel like it's ever-changing.
Those are those elusive terms. The numbers are there. Is the happiness there? Should we worry? I think Susan Faludi said something about the women's movement was not about happiness, it's about increased options. And as you point out, doesn't it all point towards the need for a redefinition of success and different goals, not just for women, but for all of us, right? Okay, I'm going to take